So for the Bitcoin, my massive trigger for the longs, this was the massive trigger for the longs when the price bounced from the value area low, rejected from the POC, then bounced from the value area low again, retest of the POC, and then we did a final breakout of the value area high. So just to make things simple, black line, do you see this is a massive resistance. This is called value area high, but this, you can, if you don't know what is a value area high, you can just take it as a very massive resistance. Okay, so this is a massive resistance. If we did a flip of this, that was the trigger for me to look for longs, and that's what we did. We made our entry somewhere around here. I don't exactly remember if I made it at 10th April or at the 13th April, but we did made an entry on the Bitcoin. I'm covering the X, the Bitcoin long that I took on the X. I did not share it inside the TTS. I did share the Ethereum long inside the top tier, which I will talk about in a bit. I just want to cover the Bitcoin so I can give you a overall what a Bitcoin king is doing. Okay, so that was the trigger for me to look for the longs, and that's what we did. And we did another retest, but this the good thing about this retest was that we did not sweep this low. So this was another sign that now this low is basically protected, and now we should see higher prices, and that is what's happening right now. So now if I talk about the current position, what we are seeing on the Bitcoin, of course, first of all, we have swept this high. This can be regarded as a valid swing failure pattern. I'm not gonna lie, I was looking for shorts on a 1 minute time frame when we did a sweep of this. Like, do you see we swept it here? I was looking for shorts, but I ended up taking it because I thought we were too overextended, and there is a high chance that we can just continue from here. Even though we are seeing some sort of reaction after the sweep of this high, and a lot of people are started to call this a swing failure pattern, etc., but I'm gonna refrain from those talks because I still think the Bitcoin is pretty strong. Because first of all, I don't see any weakness in the flow. I do think that we were getting good spot buying, and despite some spot selling by the Coinbase, even some perp selling by the Bybit, we haven't seen any sort of negative reaction on the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is looking good to me. If you ask me, I still think that Bitcoin is destined to go higher now because we were compressing a lot. This was a very insane amount of compression here, and we have finally done a breakout of that compression, and I'm at least looking at 80k. That's my first level. Once we fill up this 80k level, then we can look for higher prices at 86k, because we will have our value area here. So basically, just to give you the little bit context, right, when it comes to education, basically price moves from one value to another value. So let's say if price does a breakout of this value, we are expected to go in this value, and then we will do range here, and then from there we will decide what's going to happen. So two things can happen. Okay, so this is the entrance, you can say this is the gate of entering into that new value. Okay, currently we are in this value, we have done a breakout, now we are going to enter in a new value. Okay, so this is the new second value we have, which we can potentially enter in, and this is the entry gate for this. Okay, this is the entry gate for this. So if we want to enter, of course we want to do a breakout of this entry gate, and then we want to do ranging inside that. But if that doesn't happen, price will simply reject from there and go lower. Or let's say if price does do a breakout, price will simply come inside this range, and we will make another range, and we will form another range, etc. But I hardly believe that price will be able to do a breakout. What I think is that we will fill up the 80k level, because a lot of people are expecting a rejection from there. It's a very important level, and people are saying we want to build a mega short. So for me, I have started to build that thing inside me, that I think this 80k level is not going to act as strong as it seems. But again, if it does, if the price goes up and we start to see negative reactions, I would be happy to build a short. Okay, I don't mind, I don't care wherever we get a reaction from. I would be happy to build a short from 80k or from the 86k. But for me, from my personal opinion, I think the 86k level is now more stronger than the 80k. Okay, so what I think is that price, since have done a breakout of this value, we will go higher, reject from this value area low here, and we will simply go low and make another low. I don't think so that the absolute low is in. I do think that we can see some sort of higher rally on 4 hour on daily. Sorry guys, on 4 hour on daily, I do think that we will see some sort of higher prices, but eventually we are destined to go lower, and I don't think so that price is going to make all-time high from here. That is I'm certain on. Okay, of course, unless we start to break things like 98k, blah blah blah, there is no way that we are going from all-time high. I don't think so. This bottom is strong enough to give a rally to the all-time high. I still do think that we are just going to give another bull trap and then a final move towards the down. Okay, because still we have very significant level down towards as well. Okay, and even if you look at the data, bear market usually ends in a year or so, like 365 days or something, and we are only around like 150 to 160 days. So it is not like a fool to assume that we can see a bull trap but not an all-time high. So that's my update on the Bitcoin. I do think that we are going higher from here. I am positioned in a Bitcoin long on my X. And also, if I speak from the geopolitical perspective, I do think that the ceasefire news is going to come in very soon. That we are going to extend that 2 weeks deadline. If you follow the news, you would know that there are already been talks that there US and Iran have been talking behind the scenes, even though the JD Vance have departed from Pakistan. So I do think that we will see the extension of that 2 weeks. If we don't, then yeah, this is just a foolish move from the Trump, because there is no way other than just boots on the ground for the Trump. So I don't think so. He's not gonna do that, because we have midterm election in the new November. His rating is down the drain and everything. He want to fix it, and that will happen by making a ceasefire news with Iran. So yeah, I do think that we are, even if you combine with the geopolitical news and everything, I do think that a rally towards the 86k, 87k, no, sorry, 85k, 86k makes sense, and from there we can go back to being a bear. Okay, so that's my perspective on the Bitcoin.